Okay, so hello everyone. Mr. Moda asked me to talk about some tech that I use in class, and one of the things that I'm doing is an essential skill, I think, of being a good reader is the ability to make literary envisionments. You have to be able to make the movie in your head, and it's funny because this is the old symbol for like crankable movies back in the day. Now I'm doing this on a, I don't even know what you call this kind of camera. Things are very different now. My goal for this upcoming lesson is to get my students to read with vision. That's my number one idea, to be people who have a creative vision of what's going on. And to do that, they're going to be asked to read sections of the Odyssey and then sort of bring to life in the form of living statues the text that they've read, their vision of what they see. And they've already started to discuss it amongst themselves, and some of them have already taken their pictures. They had to go and choose quotes from a larger part of text, and then once they've done that, now they put those quotes on a board. And the way it ends up looking is like this. So this, all I did was I set up a Google slide presentation, and I shared it with them on my Google Classroom, and then I gave them all editing privileges. And then they were able to take photos in class. First thing they did was to choose a quote that they're going to bring to life. Then they kind of blocked it, and they rehearsed it. Then they had somebody take a picture of them. Then some of them photoshopped in some other elements, right? Some sheep in this case, some cheese in the last, a huge stone, and then the one eye of Cyclops. In addition to the idea of reading with vision, it's my hope that my students are also going to use technology and not be afraid to experiment with technology. I didn't know how to do this 2 weeks ago, and I just kind of started poking around. You really have to, as a teacher, you have to kind of surrender yourself and smile through it, because you're going to have moments when the tech kind of lags, although ours is really fast. This isn't the first time I've done this lesson, but it is the first time I've done this, use this technology. I've been doing this idea of reading with vision for the longest time. And so this was the living statues that I did several years ago with students. The difference was they did the visionary stuff. Then because I didn't have the ability to have them work, and I didn't have the ability, they all had to send it to me, and then I had to produce it. Now they are producing these same slides like you see here from 6 years ago. Now it's my students who are producing this stuff and are able to do these sorts of things. And I can see in real time from while they're online, you'll see it today, I can see in real time exactly what's going on, who's typing in what. It keeps a version history of what's been happening the whole time. And so in the end, it's my hope that these kids can take that idea of having a vision, not only to interpret text and interpret the world, but also to have a vision and be persistent in that vision of what they see the world should be, what they think the world should look like, and then to do something about it. So, as a reminder and a guide, here's a checklist of what you need to remember. What does your slide have to have on it? Each one must have the group number and names. It must have a visually exciting quote. We talked a lot as you guys were choosing. I was able to see what you were choosing, and I'll look through again today. With line numbers in this form. The quote goes in quotation marks, the line numbers go in parentheses, and then the period or end punctuation comes afterwards. Speech bubbles where appropriate. So you might have narration in a little box. You saw this, right? And then you might have speech bubbles. You might have stuff that's said with narration in the box, like the quotes are in the box, that's fine. You should also have the speech bubble where the person is saying it, if it's at that moment, okay? You should have an image that's proportional, not stretched horizontally or vertically. So you might have to take another picture if you're unable to crop it and still maintain the integrity of how it's supposed to look. All members of your group must be in your photo. Is anybody missing a member today? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So we're missing 2 guys.
Noah is in here. Noah Miz. Noah Miz and Danny Favela.
Miss and Favela. So we'll just work around them. Okay, don't worry about them. Everybody else must be in your photos. And then facial expression, body language, and posture are all clear and expressive. In other words, don't put the camera back here and then have a guy with an angry face or angry posture over here. It doesn't read for the camera, does it? So make sure that everybody's facial expressions, body language, and posture are all clear to the camera. And questions about this? Okay. Go. This is a great choice of a quote here, right? It's reeled and tumbled
Leave
backwards.
it black.
Okay?
Oh yeah, we can put it there. It's good.
This is when he tells him his name is nobody.
I'm not gonna cry.
There's no bottle here, it's a bowl, right?
I know.
It's a bowl, so he's got to be doing this.
Where's the quote?
What?
Where's the
I don't
quote?
know.
It's either a really funny, it's Hunger Games.
We have the line together.
Girl on fire.
Oh.
Girl.
Zane, what are you doing? You're not doing a Hunger Game.
Who is this? Is this Hooli?
Nods. Brendan.
Oh, that's Urban. Urban, you are portraying the log.
Yes.
Oh,
Trying to fix it.
Outstanding.
okay.
That's about the best log I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Log
That's perfect.
before?
Yeah.
You completely sold it.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what? Tilt it so that we can.
I want to know why these guys are looking at the camera though. What's going on there? Who are you looking
Well, I
at?
thought you said we were supposed to look at the camera.
No.
I thought you said our faces have to show.
Your faces have to show, but not like this.
Oh.
Not looking at the camera. You guys might have to reshoot this.
All right.
You're breaking the fourth wall here, right?
Uh-huh.
You're. Hey, look at us. Like you're posing. Hey guys, let me get a shot of you guys making that pike here. It's really, So you might have to reshoot that. Your faces, in other words, the camera's got to be someplace where the camera can see you while you are, hacking away at the thing, right? So one guy's hacking from here, one guy's hacking at it from here, and the camera's over here. You see? You're not looking at the camera. You should still be able to see your faces. Yeah, you guys did that in this one too.
I'm done.
This one doesn't make much sense either. You guys are holding a pike like this, it seems, and yet he's standing straight up and down. What would really have to happen is you guys, all three of you, would have to hold him, right? And have his one end of him in the fire. So we got to do some more. We might have to go back to the drawing board with our photo here. Great. Let's get a line number on that.
Put the line numbers down for.
So you guys are going to have to crop out this bottom, probably up to about here. Crop out the bottom, crop out the top to make the windows disappear. And then that should give you, when you pull from the corner, it should make a good background. Again, what we don't want to do is, squish or stretch or pull. Yeah, I like it.
I'll take it. Don't look at the camera. Don't look at the camera.
Don't look at that before you. I think that might be quotes. We all found one we like. About a minute and a half. Don't worry if you're not finished, guys. We'll work on these on Monday as well.
Okay.